And good morning, Texas. Fly Mackey here. Hold on one second here. I'm putting some codes in. And there you go. It is that fast. See how that works? We're not doing private there. Let's go back over here to this one. Y'all hang on just a second. And there we go. Good morning. Fly Mackey here with the Fly Mackey Show. My hair's a mess. Broadcasting live from the great state of Texas and Louisiana and coming soon to Washington, D.C. Oh, boy, I can't believe we get to do this stuff. A lot of stuff going on in the news. We'll get to it in just a second. I mean, Bitcoin, oh, boy. Man, I'm telling you, it is. Let's take a little look at X, and let's see what's going on there with the news. Hold on one second here. No, Bernie, this old guy, you got, like, come on, Bernie, cut it out. Okay, so here's why these guys get hostile, got hostile with RFK the other day. And then, you know, these big pharma, they're out to kill us. I shouldn't say that. They're out to, they have an agenda and they want to keep us sick. And it just is the way it is. I don't know if that's criminal or if, you know, because they have they're covered 100 ways to Sunday. You know, as they say, there's a lot of ways to the church on Sunday. Well, you know, here you go. But look how much Bernie Sanders gets from big pharma. And then you look at Raphael Warnock, Elizabeth Warren. You know, no wonder they're screaming at these guys because they have to defend all that money that they're getting. Wyden, Bennett, Masto, Hassan, Lujan, Whitehouse, Cantwell, Smith, and Welch, just to name a few. There's others that get a little bit of it, but this is where their big money comes from. What do you think they're doing with all this money? Interesting stuff here. Very interesting stuff. Just going over some of the news here. Yeah, she's done quite a bit of investigative journalism. She's an up-and-comer for sure. She's going to be, you know, she's got a lot of credibility comes with her work because she just digs in, does a lot of work.
So that's a pretty important part. So what are the 6 types of special use airspace?
The question that I was, who's on the plane? Who's on that plane?
That protect this national security that appear on FAA charts.
And this is what everyone's trying to get. We've been
so what are the operational
trying to get the list.
of a pilot?
Who was on that plane?
Basic med.
Senator, I'm not a
Why was that plane taken down?
Obviously, you'd ever see the Federal
Was it
Aviation
taken down?
Administration. So,
was there a
idea
reason
what those restrictions are
other than you know, because these military
Yeah,
guys
some
are,
of the
you know,
restrictions,
did
I
they
think,
give
would
up
be
their
high blood
life
pressure. Some of them would
to
be,
protect
It's more like how many passengers per
possibly,
airplane, how many pounds
okay.
you
in different
know,
categories, and what
a target?
altitude you can fly under. So,
Could that be
and
the
and
story
then
that we're not hearing?
amount of knots. It's under 200.
This is pretty graphic, but let's watch it, okay?
Between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In a second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water. These videos, obtained exclusively by CNN, show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines.
It's interesting. It's interesting to see why did they do that, because that helicopter looked like it hit it on, you know, on purpose. It looks like that. So who was on the plane? Why we got some dirt over here. Why did that happen like that? You know, is there a bigger story here that or is there a different story that we're not hearing? Anyway, we're going to find out soon enough. They're doing some investigation. The real story may never come out, but either way, you know, if they hit that plane because there was going to be something sinister going on, you know, we'll know soon enough, I'm guessing, or possibly we'll never know. Some of this stuff you don't want to tell, you know, you just don't want to tell the public some of this top secret stuff. I'm 100% for transparency, but once again, you want to be careful out there what we tell the public. But is there a different story here than what we're hearing? Who knows? We're going to find out soon enough. That's for sure. Let's look at it, see what else. I want to look at that one more time. Let's take a look at this one more time.
These videos, obtained exclusively by CNN, show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In a second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water,
Tucker.
and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
Interesting.
These videos, obtained...
That's very interesting. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. They're all going to get confirmed. Let's hope. Let's see what else is just on the screen here for the news. You get some good news here. Once again, you're going to see this story. Look at this one more time. You're wondering why did this happen? There may be a bigger story here than we're not hearing. We don't want to throw any stories out there that we don't know about. We have pretty good resources, but once again, I'm not hearing anything that the rest of the world's reporters are putting out. Interesting. Don't know how vetted this story is. I wouldn't take this one. That comes from a guy that's fake gay politics. So take that with a grain of salt. I don't know. I don't know how well you can take that story right there. We'll have to do some research on that. Yeah. Those guys are going to get confirmed.
Change in its hiring practices. So it used to be that they would score representing Mountain State's legal foundation as part of a class action on behalf of 900 plus would-be air traffic controllers. And so we brought this suit based on the FAA's change in its hiring practices. So it used to be that they would score a pre-employment test and it would be based on merit. And all of our clients passed with flying colors. Many of them passed with 100% on this test. And the FAA decided that the pool of air traffic controller applicants was too white. And so they flushed that initial test and they adopted a biographical assessment, which you can already hear as an ominous term for a air traffic controller test. And unfortunately, our clients didn't pass that. And we allege that the FAA changed the test in order to gerrymander the racial pool. Representing Mountain State.
I guess we'll see. See a little bit of extra news on here. Yeah, they're not President Trump's not taking on a digital coin with the government. They're not going to pass that. He's already said that. They're trying to. The war, like Europe, they're trying to get that to happen. But the Federal Reserve, the chairman of the Federal Reserve yesterday, the day before, talked about how the banks could now start issuing cryptocurrency in exchange at the banks. And that was a big announcement that they got no traction with the legacy media. Matter of fact, nobody, including us, even reported on that. But that's you can go back and look up that interview of Jerome Powell talking about the central banks being able to now issue how he said issue crypto. So with his customers, that's a big story, but it went unreported. So let's see what happens out of that. But they're not coming up with no digital coin. I'm not a betting guy, but if I was, I'd say that's not going to happen because President Trump's not going to allow that to happen. Here's Matt Wallace, who does some pretty good reporting. I don't agree with all his stuff, but so this is the second person reporting here. Yeah, why would you ruin your career if this is true? Anyway, it looks like that is the pilot right there. He does some really good reporting, and you can take his good quality reporting. Let's look at Christopher Inks right here. Here's his graph, his chart on Apple. Its earnings report came out, and since that earnings report came out, it's up 3.5% after hours. Interesting stuff. Interesting. Christopher Inks, really good reporting right here. Let's see what else is on here. Yeah, that's an old story, but oh, that's a nasty story. I don't like to report on stories like that. Let's listen to what Elon.
So we'll be announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits. and I'll be putting the tariff of 25% on Canada and separately 25% on Mexico.
Good.
The tariffs go into effect Saturday, so buy your maple syrup and Corona now.
That is amazing. And by the way, those are our brothers and sisters over there. Canada and Mexico are our neighbors. They're like family. Literally, you can't say it's one big country because that's two distinct peoples there. Canadians got its own culture and stuff. So do the Mexicans. Great culture, old culture. So but anyway, the as much as they interact between each other, you think we're one country. But anyway, that's a good idea to place the tariffs. We're going to make our money back on the tariffs, and hopefully moving forward, they're going to cut the IRS. That would be a great move. Let's see a little bit more news on here. I actually want to go to I want to look at Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin right here. So now I can take this one out right here. I can take that one out right there. This one I'm going to keep. There's a reason I'm keeping this one right here. This chart right here, because those of you who've been following me, this is where back in October of last year, I did this chart right here where I was tracking this lane that Bitcoin was traveling in. And then right here is where I was charting about a week or so, about right here. So it was about a week before I made this chart here, and I drew this line right here of this is where the trajectory that I saw Bitcoin going. And you can see here, we hit exactly there. We hit here, we hit the top of the mountain there, we hit the top of the mountain there. And of course, we traveled way above this for a while. Now we're traveling below this. But I think before it's over, somewhere here, we're heading back up right here into this trajectory right here, up around $120,000, $130,000. Okay, now that should be. And by the way, do I see it going above that? Yeah, I think, in my personal opinion, there, based on the charting, it looks like when it does. Of course, once again, you go by the charts, right? Who knows what's going to happen, but it's going to get exciting. That is for sure. Let's go over here and look at the XRP, which is now trading at $3.09. It's down a little bit for the day. It's been hovering $3. You see here's the lane that it traveled in for a little bit there, from December to up to around January. So for about, let's see there, for about a month and a half, almost 2 months, it traveled into this lane right here before. And you see here where I started this back in November of last year, when it started making its move. And then of course you see the trajectory. You see how it hit the bottom of this mountain right here, and then it hit the top of this one right here. Of course, it's been traveling up above that for a while. Here's a little bitty sub lane right here. This lane right here is important. Of course, when you're talking about people like Christopher Inks and Mark Meckler and some of these guys who are world-class charters, they'd laugh at this stuff right here. But basically, we just looking at how a 5-year-old could look at where these coins are moving and what kind of lanes they're moving. And if you were driving down the road, wouldn't you want to be in the lane, right? That's why I draw these, so you can see the lanes. This going to get very exciting right here. Actually, I have this right here because as we move sideways here, somewhere around March, and this is part of a bigger chart, not the simple one. It doesn't make a lot of sense here when you look at it. A professional charter, somebody who's professional at charting, is going to look at my stuff and go, this don't make any sense. Well, of course it doesn't to the professional, but to somebody like who wants to look at this like a 5-year-old, when I draw these charts, the reason I draw it this way is because I'm projecting, or I'm calculating of where I think this may be heading. Okay, there's no science behind this for you. don't take this to the bank. Make sure that you always talk to your financial advisors, et cetera, whoever that is, and just make your own, educated decisions of what you're doing. But I'm just trying to give you an explanation on how I do my charting. So when I came back, when I started charting this, let's go back over here to this one right here. When I, right here, here's XRP trading at $3.09. Yeah, right here. Hold on one second. My eyeball. Good morning, Texas. Hello, Texas. Don't turn that dial. This is the Fly Mackey Show. And I am your host, Fly Mackey, broadcasting out of the great state of Texas and Louisiana and Florida, coming to Washington, D.C. and all kinds of places, Denver, Colorado, and San Antonio. We're going to have another channel back in San Antonio. Back in 22, we had a channel. We were part of a new channel coming up, channel 11 there in San Antonio, and then they got bought and sold. But we're going to be on another network there. Same network we're on now, but we're getting a new channel in San Antonio coming up soon. We're very excited about that. Anyway, let's see what else is going on. We've got about 3 minutes, give or take. Looks like they got the clock straightened out. And then we're going to go back to regular programming. We'll have some commercial breaks coming up here in just a second. Let's look to see if there's just any more news going on. This is 11 hours ago, so I'm not looking at stuff from 11 hours ago.
Were you working to prepare the Department of Defense on that day?
On that day specifically,
Let's
responding
listen
to
in for just a
preparing
second.
to mobilize and deploy the National Guard once we got the lawful request from the local governing authority, which was the mayor of DC and the Speaker of the House.
Now, how many days in advance were you working to prepare the Department of Defense to help secure the Capitol on January 6th?
Days in advance, Senator, we were in the Oval Office on an unrelated national security matter with the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and myself.
Our virtual
And the President authorized up to 20,000 plus National Guardsmen and women to secure any security measures necessary related to the Capitol. So we were moving to the fullest extent of the law before the requisite request came from a local governing authority days ahead of time.
And while you were Chief of Staff at DOD, how many times did DOD approach Capitol Police and ask if they needed National Guard assistance?
I believe those letters are well documented, numerous instances, and numerous of those instances, those requests were shut down.
Now, am I correct that the Capitol Sergeant at Arms said assistance was unnecessary?
That's correct, Senator.
Who did the Sergeant at Arms report to?
The Speaker of the House.
That would have been Nancy Pelosi at the time. Is that correct?
Yes, Senator.
And would that also be Chuck Schumer, then the Senate Majority Leader?
The Sergeant at Arms, yes, Senator, reports up there.
Did Mayor Bowser, the
We're gonna go to
Democrat
commercial
elected
break
mayor
here
in
just a
D.C.,
second. So if we get
either
cut off
request
on
or
Fly
allow
Mackey
National Guard assistance?
with
She put in
Department of
writing
television
on the days leading up to January 6th, a declination
going
for
over
National
some
Guard
of the
additional support.
some
And
of
that
the
letter is available publicly to the world.
testimony.
And
Cash
just to
Patel and some of the
speak
others,
English for
going over
folks
some
at
basic
home, a declination meant she said, no, don't send National Guard. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a simple question, because from the questioning from my Democrat colleagues, they might think otherwise. Do you condemn violence against law enforcement?
All of it.
Folks, I'm not funded.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Yeah, of course. You know, here's the deal with the news. Everyone knows when it's fake, but it's so obvious that they're lying to you, because when somebody comes out and says, no, that's not the way it is, and they go, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's like your kid when they crap their pants and they go, mommy, daddy, I didn't crap my pants. Okay. We're going to commercial break. We'll be back in a couple of hours with the Fly Mackey Show, reporting live from Washington, D.C., the great state of Texas. Y'all have a great morning, and we'll see you soon, okay? That's what they said. They said we're done for the morning.